All right, everybody. We are here with episode 2 with the one and only Bryan Wiggins, my husband.
Cheers, baby.
We're about to do this together.
All right. Hey.
I'm so excited to have him here. Bryan, how are you feeling?
Dude, I'm your second guest.
Yes.
Well, I'm your first guest.
Yes, you were actually my first guest.
See?
Yeah.
So
second
I feel
episode,
great.
First guest. And I wanted to bring Bryan along because for those who don't know, he's very, very involved with what I'm doing here with the Dance Mompreneur brand. He is an entrepreneur. He's the reason why I'm even starting a business and have done business in the past. He has a very interesting story about his life and his background from being a Marine, from doing incredible things in his life. So I want to start, Bryan, with us telling us a little bit of what it was like for you to grow up. What was your childhood like?
Yeah, so as you guys know, I'm American, full-blooded American, and I grew up in a small town, Midwest Missouri, and it was very. I'm sure a lot of the audience will relate to this, but we grew up where you drove around Sonic, and then you drove around the town square, and you just kept doing that all night. It's like that's what they did for fun, but definitely grew up outside. That's for sure. I don't think I was ever inside. My mom used to clean the house. Well, she'd be cleaning the house and she'd kick us out until it was dinner time, and she literally would lock the door, so we had to go out with our friends outside of school. So that's where I grew up.
Yeah. So you were raised by a single mom.
Single mom
with 3 other kids in the house.
Girls. Yep.
3 other girls.
3 sisters.
And you moved a lot too, didn't you?
So I would say that we moved about every 2 years. It seemed like.
Okay.
I would say. Well, there was seasons where we moved a lot, but then there was a couple seasons where we were in one area for like 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. But I think it was like twice that we were in those situations.
So tell me one thing about your life, about being yourself, your personality, you as a kid, that you noticed that was different than the other kids that you were around. Or tell me a few things.
No, this is an interesting perspective because we moved so much. There was one thing that was kind of cool is that every time we went to a school, because I was a new guy, all the girls liked me.
Oh, you're the popular guy.
I was the popular guy for the moment.
For the season.
It was a very small moment. And then another new guy would show up and he would take it.
And kick you to the curb.
But I remember my little sister, I have a baby sister, and I would tell her, she'd answer the door, and I would tell her, do not let them know I'm here. I'm in the back. I'm not here. There'd be like 2 or 3 girls at the door waiting for me. I'm like, no, I'm not hanging out with them. Leave me alone. But it was. I think what was cool about the way that I grew up was that I didn't ever form into these cliques ever. And, you guys know this for those of you around America, and I don't know if it's the same way in Brazil, if they have like the cliques. But in America, it's very cliquey, and it's almost like you don't really leave room for other people to enter your relationship.
Especially if you're in the same town.
Life. And you get really comfortable with that. You get people, like in Tennessee, we heard people say, you ever been in Morgan County? Like it was a big deal. It's like, and I would tell them, have you ever been out of Morgan County? It's kind of funny, right? But I think what was so cool about that is it made me very comfortable with new groups. Mm-hmm. Like I was in the Marine Corps where we went to different platoons, and it was always easy for me to make friends. And I'm sure you've witnessed that with me, where I make friends everywhere.
Yes, you're very easy to make friends for sure. Like you actually enjoy moving.
I love it, actually. Let's be honest.
Which can be very painful.
It can be painful. Let's be honest.
I've moved a lot too, but I think.
But not as a kid.
Not as a kid at all. I grew up in Brazil. For those who don't know, I'm Brazilian, born and raised in Brazil, in the city of Campinas, São Paulo, and I've lived there until I was 20 when I went to America. So imagine me. I've never been anywhere else, lived anywhere else, not lived outside of my parents. So I've been living with my parents. I never moved out. And my first move was going to Chicago, Illinois, in the USA.
What do they call it? Chi-town.
Chi-town, because I thought I wanted to see snow. I had no idea what that was. I saw
hold
snow.
On, that was your first city you went to?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that. So, wow, what an introduction.
Chicago, I thought it was the coolest
what an introduction.
thing. Yeah, it was cool. I love Chicago. I just hate the weather. But outside of that, I loved the people. I loved everything about Chicago. It's just like there's a cool vibe in the north. Like the people, it's like I truly felt that I was with Americans. It was a very like Americanized families, towns. I was in the suburbs, in the north suburbs, northwest of Chicago.
Dude, think about that actually, because I've been up there with you a few times. It's very, uh, it's like working class. It's working
Yeah,
class
yeah.
America.
It's very the typical Americans. Like you got your family, you got your big houses, nothing crazy. I mean, obviously they're the crazies, but like you got your big home and everybody's working and living their life and going to games and doing all these American things, and which for me was like so exciting and so cool.
It's a very lively city.
Yeah, I mean, oh, downtown Chicago is phenomenal. For those of you guys who don't know, oh my gosh, I love Chicago. I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And during the summer, it becomes this
Oh, yeah.
whole new city. It's like,
There's no doubt.
what is this? Where have these people been? It's like you see so many people coming out of the woodworks, and it's like Lake Michigan becomes a beach, right? So everybody's at the beach. There's live music every night. I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
So I went up there one time with you when it was summertime, and I was like, it felt like I was at the beach, like
Yeah,
in Florida, the beach.
you are.
It was hot.
Sometimes you cannot
There
enter
was so
the
much
water,
food.
but yeah.
You can't go into the water. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they had a lot of times they had like a bacteria in the water. You couldn't enter, which was
You're
a bummer.
kidding me.
I've been like, I remember a couple times going there where we couldn't enter, and I'm like, I'm dying. Like it's so hot.
Is that
But
because of the city?
I don't know. Sometimes that happened where you can enter the water, but it wasn't all the time. But it was absolutely beautiful. There were so many beautiful people. I thought, yeah, everybody active, going out. But during the winter, man, oh boy, it's brutal. You get used to it. But for me as a Brazilian, I regret it very quickly. I'm like, what was I thinking? I remember actually the first time I saw snow, it was just like, no, thank you. We got snowed in with the kids, and I was a nanny at the time. So I remember
10
kids
degrees.
knocking my room like, we got snow, and I had never seen snow. I opened the window and I'm like, oh, I've seen what I needed to see, and I'm
that's
good.
it.
And that's good. Like, and they're like, let's go outside. I'm like, okay, let's go. And then I went outside. I was like, immediately no.
But you gotta think too, especially in Chicago. That's not like Colorado. That's not like
Well,
to,
but yeah.
to me, it's like Chicago is like freezing cold. It's a
Mhm.
little bit miserable.
Mhm.
You're
very great.
you're in the pavement. Where Colorado, you're in the countryside around trees. It's just a whole different
Yeah.
experience around snow.
Which I've lived in Colorado too, lived in Denver, and it was, oh yeah. The cool thing about Denver, for those who haven't been there, is that yeah, if there's snow, the next day everything is melted. There's no longer snow on the ground, and that's beautiful. Where in Chicago, the same snow would be on the ground for the whole month, and now
dirty.
it's nasty.
Yeah, it's dirty.
It's gross, and it never melts because it never gets sunny enough, and it lasts for way too long. But anyway,
No, it's
we
true.
got a little bit off subject, but that's cool. And so tell me, because I think like you've told you, I feel like you are a very born entrepreneur, even
Yeah.
though you were an employee,
Yeah.
like when before you embarked into this journey. But what was your first experience with being an employee that you can remember from a young age? Oh, I'm sorry, being an entrepreneur.
So there was a time that was such a defining moment in my life. I think I was, I don't really know for sure, but I think it was somewhere around 11 or 12 years old, like pretty much everyone's age, where my dad bought me snow boots, and there was a blizzard that wiped through. What was the town called? Uh, I think it was called Trenton. That's what it was called, Trenton, Missouri. And there was a snow blizzard that went through, and me and my buddy went and shoveled shoveled yards all day, and people loved it. They saw two kids working hard. They'd give us hot chocolate. We did $30 a yard back then. So I don't know.
Good money back then.
That was good money. I mean,
probably like what, $150 today.
Oh, it was way more than that. It's probably like, because you got to
Especially
think
for
we were
kids.
doing between 12 and 15 a day. I mean, we were getting after it, And I remember what's funny is that the kid that was with me was older. He was robbing me. I mean, he'd give me like $20
just because you're younger.
Yeah, and I was happy. I mean, I didn't even collect the money, so I had no idea, and I didn't care. Back then I really didn't care. But one thing I will say is like, I've always been a worker. It's like in our bloodline. My mom's a worker. She did 3 jobs.
Yeah.
She never complained about it. And my mom, to this
mom.
day, she loves working.
She's a worker. I've never seen anybody like it.
It's incredible.
It's interesting.
It's incredible. It's where her joy is. Working.
Yeah,
it's
and
incredible. Serving and working. That girl.
It's like that old paradigm. Oh, the old school people, like the old generation.
They were proud about it.
They were proud of working. They were proud of serving. And they didn't complain. They just did what they were supposed to do.
And they do it like they do it around the clock. Like you
Yeah.
can't keep up with them. And it's my mom definitely passed that on to me. And I remember when I was shoveling those snow, my sisters went out to try to do it. They did 1 yard and they quit. They did 1 yard
Yeah.
and they quit, and they took them all day. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. So we were out there shoveling, and a guy came by with a tractor. This is where I was a little bit dumb. Today I'd probably do it a little bit differently, but
Probably.
a guy with a tractor came by. We were shoveling. It was the hardest yard. It was the hardest. It was 4-car garage. It was big. Okay, we charged $25, between $25 and $30. I think she gave us $40. But it took us like almost 3 hours to do it. And a guy came by with a tractor. He said, "I'll do it." And I told him to get down the road. I said, "This is our yard. We're gonna earn our money." It's probably a good thing, right? Because I had some character. But I told the guy to kick rocks, and the buddy friend of mine that was with me. He was so upset that he's so upset that I made him do it with me. We shoveled it with the shovels.
Yeah.
And I do remember that. That was my first experience. I was like 11, 12 years old.
Were like this to this day.
Yeah.
Actually,
100%.
That is you.
Yeah, like that's actually true. Like, so for those of you who don't know, we had a service business in Knoxville, Tennessee, Dude's Company. And, in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm sure some of you can relate with this, it's a very laid back culture. It's not like Chicago, Chi-Town. It's not like San Diego. The places I've been, even Missouri. You've been to Missouri, like the restaurants, they're 150 miles an hour. Yeah. People work hard. In Tennessee, I can honestly say without a shadow of a doubt, it's a very laid back place.
It is laid back.
I'm going to be nice.
It's kind of like Brazil.
It's kind of like Brazil.
Brazil reminds me of Knoxville.
It's very laid back.
I'm not saying that people are not hard worker, but it's a very laid back.
It's like how do I say this? Like, yeah, they honestly, they take a long lunch break. They want to go home to their family. It's very much like that.
They talk slow.
They talk slow.
They don't want you being too fast. They don't like it. They feel uncomfortable if you
they want to get off.
You got to be how you doing before anything else. And that is so. When I went to Knoxville, it was hard for me because I lived a lot in Chicago. I was working downtown Chicago. So I've been working like in a tech company. I was dealing with like CEOs, people, and I'm like
fast paced,
on point. Hey, how's it going? Boom, boom, boom. And then I got to Knoxville, and nobody wanted to be treated that way. Nobody wanted to be fast. People got offended. They didn't like my vibe. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was a little bit painful in the beginning because I'm like, I haven't done this in a very long time where I have to like slow down. Like that was Brazil, but I hadn't been living in
Brazil. It grew on us. We're not like at first it was definitely annoying. Let's be honest. Let's just call it like it is. But towards the end, we fell in love with it.
Yeah.
It was nice to slow down and hear someone's story. And, I know there was a time I went to Nashville and this guy was breathing down my neck when I was trying to, pay for my fuel. Yeah. And I was just thinking in Knoxville, that never happened.
Yeah. And you got annoyed because you had been in Knoxville for so long.
I've been in Knoxville for so long.
That you're like, I kind of like it now. I'm used to it now.
And
it takes a while.
And I still am kind of used to that because obviously we're in Brazil. It's the same way. It's just sweet. It's sweet. But when you're running a business, it's not sweet. It's the opposite of sweet. So, yeah, we noticed it when we did decks. Like, we would leave the deck 1,000% better than we found it. And this was so uncommon for contractors in Knoxville.
Yeah, it's true. I think people have a low standard in Tennessee. I'm going to be honest. For the work that they do. They do.
Like, we were clearing this.
It's just how they are.
We were clearing this land with another company, and they were just throwing the brush into someone else's yard.
Yeah.
And you know me, like, we left it clean. Like, we disposed of everything, and it wasn't even a question. Whether the homeowner paid for it or not, it wasn't even a question. And that's just.
And again, also comes with the fact that you're a Marine.
Yep.
And
I think I'm gonna be honest with you, though. I think the guys in Missouri are like this. I think the guys I grew up with, because this is an interesting perspective. I haven't even told you this. Like the guys I grew up with in Missouri, those guys were hardcore.
Yeah.
The pipe fitters, the welders, the linemen, the farmers because I worked all this stuff when I was a kid. And those are the guys who poured into me. And they're nothing like the guys in Tennessee.
Yeah.
They are like from sun up to sundown, like go hard.
Yeah, go hard.
Go home and sharpen your chainsaw kind of people. They were in Missouri. They're not, that's where I grew up. They're just, I would love to know, but I'm almost positive they're still the same way. You saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, when I went there, I was like, these people are like fast.
They're fast.
Yeah.
And they work hard.
Yeah.
And my mom's, she's the same way.
Yeah.
So I do kind of think it's a Tennessee thing. I think that's why we ran circles around everybody in Tennessee.
Yeah, you went too fast.
Yeah, it went way too fast. They couldn't believe that they could call us, and we would schedule an estimate and then do the job the next week and do it excellent. It was
Yeah, they were
just
kind of shocked.
out of this world.
It's true.
That
But
was fun.
so tell me, I know, I mean, you don't have to go too much deep into, but tell me about joining the Marines.
So
And
joining the Marines was a wild experience. So number one, I don't even know if I told you this, but I joined the National Guard at first.
yeah, no, you have to share that story.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's, you told me, and that's interesting.
so listen. Obviously, I was talking to God about this. This is when I first really got to know God, and he, me and him were talking back and forth to each other. That's a whole nother story. But uh, God told me to join the army or join the military. It wasn't clear. So I went back home and uh, I went to go with the National Guard because I was like, I'm going to do the National Guard. So I go with this recruiter and he takes me up to Kansas City. I think it was like, yeah, Kansas City, Missouri, where you do the ASVAB. And I'm in the middle of taking the test. Like I'm not even done. And he comes in there and stops me. He's like, hey, you're going with me. We got to go. So
Which is weird.
which was weird.
Doesn't happen.
It was so weird. And we get in the car and we're heading back and we're just talking. But basically, he just pulled me out of getting the ASVAB. And I go back to, I was at Job Corps at the time. For those of you who don't know, it's another story too, but excuse me. But I get back to Job Corps and I get a letter in the mail saying, would you like to join the Marine Corps? And I was like, hell no. I mean, those guys are extreme. I literally thought to myself, there's no way I would ever join the Marine Corps. It was not something, you hear a lot of guys say, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, I wanted to be a recon. That was never me. I was never one. I wanted to either be a preacher or a missionary. That's what my heart was, like 1,000%. And God had a different plan for me. But I remember when I went to the Marine Corps' recruiting office, guys, there was 100% difference between the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. It was night and day. And you know me, I'm a worker, so it was very pleasing. It was like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. The way these guys carry themselves. And he was an infantry guy, the guy I met. And I just remember like sitting down with him and just being in awe of the whole operation and how he wasn't trying to sell me on a bonus. So at that time, I don't even know if you know this, but you were getting like $28,000 sign-on bonus
Yeah.
to join the army.
Wow.
Like if you joined the army at that time, you got like 28 grand.
And for the Marines?
It was zero. It was
And
$0.
you're like, sign me up.
And I was like, sign me up. These guys are legit. It's the real deal. We went and did workouts where we did like 500 push-ups and we did 3 mile run and lots of pull-ups. And it was hard. It was intense. And I just thought, yeah, this is what I want. I want this. I remember the guy, I remember telling the recruiter, I said, I don't want to be infantry. It's the last thing I want to be. But I want to be the guy with guns who's clearing rooms.
Oh.
And he said, that's the infantry. I
mean?
said, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do.
That's
So that was
cool.
funny. He was trying to get me into recon because I did run fast even back then. I didn't want nothing to do with the recon at the time.
What is the recon?
Recon is like special operations.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sure.
It's he was telling me that those guys swim a lot, and I was like, the last thing I want to do is swim.
Oh yeah, you have a phobia.
Yeah, I don't like
of
swimming.
the ocean. You won't swim.
I'll do it like
You
with,
know how to swim, but
yeah, I know how to swim. I'll do it with groups of Marines. It's awesome. Like I'll even go into the ocean if there's like 20 other guys.
He does not like the ocean.
I hate the ocean.
Yeah.
Just the idea of a big fish.
You can never be a Navy SEAL, right?
No, I'd have to train for it. But yeah, it's definitely not my natural desire. So joining the Marine Corps, it was a very, very intense moment. It really was. I remember going to. So what you guys don't understand is I don't have a big family. So just my mom, and I have had a relationship with my dad, but it's I'm not going to shoot the guy. I'm going to give him credit where he deserves. He was in my life quite a bit, and definitely the most monumental times of my life. So I give him credit for that, and I love him, and I love my mom, and I definitely honor both of them. I don't have a bad story with either of them. But when I joined the Marine Corps, I was alone. So I was at Job Corps, graduated. So I went to Job Corps. I was there for 14 months, and I went straight into the Marine Corps. So I graduated on Friday and went on Sunday. So I haven't even been around my family. I've been gone for 6 or 7 months, and I went straight into the Marine Corps by myself on the airplane. Checked in. It was like weird. You're in the airport, and you go to this room. And there's a bunch of guys like police that are just sitting there, and you're sitting there for like 12 hours. Okay, you're sitting there forever. And you're like, what's going on?
Nobody's talking.
No one's talking. No one knows what's going on. All of a sudden, the bus pulls up, and everybody starts
You're like,
standing up. Yeah, you're like, what's about to happen? And these guys come in. One guy has I remember this like it was yesterday. This guy has a patch on it, so he's missing an eye. You know, he's a patch, and it's like he's legit missing an eye, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs. And guys, it's like a yell that you've never heard before. Like your nasty civilian body has never heard a Marine yell who's been to war. I mean, these guys are insane. You kind of know because you're around me. I've heard your yell. Yeah, yeah. She's been around me. It's a different kind of yell, right?
Yes,
it's intense.
He talks very loud.
I'll talk like I have a microphone on, so that's like, for sure. Hey, settle down, dude. We all can hear you. You're in the car. So we go on the bus, and the drill instructor tells us, "Do not look up. Put your head between your lap and don't look up." And I kid you not, I didn't look up, but everybody else did. Okay, I literally did not look up
the whole time.
The whole time. It was about 20 minutes.
But how do you know that the other people did?
Because you could go like this.
You can tell.
Yeah, you can kind of see everybody's up, everybody's talking. I had my head down. I just knew this was gonna be a show. So you go to San Diego MCRD is right next to the airport. Like it's literally you could see it. It's walking distance, but it takes a while to go through all the gates. So we show up. The guy gets on the bus, yells at us. We get off. We get on the yellow footprints. There's like yellow footprints lined out where everybody can get on them. It has your feet like ballet. You sit there and then you swear in. You're like, I do, like whatever you say. I don't even remember what you said. You're like, I do swear, blah, blah, blah. And then you go in, you get your hair cut. They shave your head, and you've got blood all over your head because they're just doing it. They don't care. And a lot of people know what I'm talking about. And they take your belongings, they put it in a box, and you have to. So it's the first time in my life that I ever wore the whitey tighties. You know what I mean? The
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the whitey tighties. So you get butt naked in front of everybody, and you put on whitey tighties. It's the first time I've ever been nude in front of a guy. Like seriously, So I wasn't used to the whole sports thing where you were naked around other guys.
Yeah.
My first time. All the urinals are open, so you're just with other guys. But what's funny is you do a check-in.
That's why you guys are so comfortable with each other. Extremely.
You have no idea.
Too comfortable.
We've slept together. It's like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, you become tight with the dudes. It's a whole nother story. But they do a check-in. It took like a week to do the check-in. I thought I was in live boot camp the whole time. So it's like, I don't know how to say it. Like you're in a room standing up for 12 hours. No one comes in there. No one's checking on you. You're just sitting there. Like they just put you in a room and said, I hope, you have no idea what's going on. You haven't slept in 2 days. I'm not kidding you. And then you have to fill out paperwork. Like you have to fill out your medical paperwork and all that stuff. And you're scribbling.
Can't even think.
No, you're scribbling. I mean, you don't even care. And then they give you all the shots they put in your arms. You don't even know. They're putting 4 shots in each arm.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's, looking back now, I wouldn't have tolerated any of that. I wouldn't have tolerated none of that. Because you know what we stand for now.
Yeah.
So we're 3 or 4 days in, and I'm thinking I'm in boot camp. I'm thinking I'm. This
is it. Like
this is day 1. Yeah, this is day 4. And the drill instructor who's with us keeps telling us we're going to meet our drill instructors, and it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean we're going to meet our drill instructors? Like, it was so. And guys, I was on another planet. I didn't even know where I was at. I just didn't understand what was going on. And I remember the first night we're there, and this has stuck with me like day 1. We drank a whole canteen of water, and I've never done that in my entire life. Right before I go to bed, drink a whole thing of water. And I can't describe the pain that you have in the morning with your bladder so full that you can't even pee. It's just like, I want to know in the comment section, like, has anybody ever felt that? Like it's the most painful feeling in the whole world.
But did you have to drink that water?
Oh yeah. You stand online and they say something. I can't remember what it is. You put the canteen out straight in front of you and they go, bottles up. And you go like this, and then you have to go.
What is a canteen?
It's like a pouch of water.
Okay, so it's not that much.
It's probably like half a liter.
Okay. Oh.
It's not a little bit, but here's the problem. See, what you don't know is here's the problem. It's tap water from the Marine Corps.
Gross.
Beyond gross. It's like water you would never
like
drink.
Awful.
Oh, it's the worst tasting water you've ever had, and you're drinking that the whole time you're there. It's like you're just pumping this dirty water in your system, and you're drinking gallons of it. So yeah, I mean, it was just like, so anyway, we meet our drill instructors, and It actually was a level of peace. Actually, to be honest with you, because it was a little bit of clarity.
Okay.
It was
Now
like,
at least you know what's happening.
yeah, I'm in my platoon, and I'm like, okay, this is okay. Now it all
It was
clicked.
just a pre boot camp.
Pre boot camp, which was worse than boot camp in my opinion. I went through boot camp flying colors. I mean, I really did. I did all the exercises. I think I started doing 6 pull-ups. I ended up doing like 23 when I left. I was like 140 pounds. I think I left like 183. I was like I was totally beast mode when I got out. I was
That's
gung
cool.
ho. I couldn't even put my pants on. So the pants I showed up with, I couldn't even put them past my knees.
Yeah.
That's how big my legs were in that time. And that was my first experience.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But I'll tell you, it was the proudest moment of my life. And when I remember this really like big time is that when I was getting pinned on the chevrons for the eagle, robe, and anchor when you actually become a Marine. There was a drill instructor from another platoon that he was insane. This guy was insane. And they do this thing where they walk in front of you and then they left face and they talk to you. So they're talking to the guy next to me, and I hated this guy. He was like, I think he ended up doing like 6 pull-ups. So he just didn't push himself, and he skated the whole time, and we all knew it. He did. He was like the guy who was underneath the radar. He was an MP. That drill instructor told him everything I wanted to tell him. He's like, so you go to the rifle range and you shoot either expert or marksman or sharpshooter. So it's like marksman is like the bottom of the barrel, and that's what this guy had. He didn't have a strong PFT. He was just a total shitbag, honestly. That's what we call him. And this drill instructor ripped him a new one. Told him like, you're the epitome of the Marine Corps. Like you're how do you even call yourself a Marine? And this is the day that we all got put on Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And now I thought to myself too that moment. I'm like, fucking right.
Yeah.
Like you are someone who just you scraped by,
and you needed to know that.
and
like,
you needed to know that.
You needed to know that.
And
You're not leaving here not knowing that.
And you guys are going to relate with this. In the Marine Corps, that stuff doesn't fly. You don't go underneath the radar. A lot of civilians, you guys go underneath the radar. In the Marine Corps, it's like a spot glass. You will get called out. People will see you
as it is.
a mile away, and it's like the best leadership. It's a Brett Nar would love guys. Nar is a Marine more than you guys would ever know. But so he comes and left face me, and he said, "Now look at this Marine." He said, "This guy." He's like, "How many pulls did you do?" I'm like, 6. He's like, "How many do you now?" I'm like, 23. What's your PFT? This. I had expert rifle badge. He just like this guy was just like lifting me up, and I was like, you know why? Because it was the things I did behind scenes when nobody was looking. I remember taking extra watch. I mean, just all the stuff I did was so intense, and I was hazed the whole time I was there. I mean, I remember this time. The drill instructor says the first guy that comes on this quarter deck, which is like the entryway, is gonna get hazed. And I was the dumbass who walked in there first. Hey, what is it called? How do you talk to private on deck or something like that? You have to talk in third person the whole time you're there. So if you have to use the head, it's like this recruit requests permission to speak to Staff Sergeant Ellington, sir, and then he has to say permission granted. What do you want? This recruit requests permission to use the head. And it's like then he has to say. So you have to do all that if you want to use the head. And 9 times out of 10, you ain't even doing that. You're just gonna sit there. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how many guys piss their pants.
Yeah, they're like, I would rather piss my pants and go through this.
And my dumb ass would be up there like on point, like this. That's why I could say it today. I mean, I'm like this recover. Yeah, this shit is exciting. Actually, I can't believe this. I was on watch, and the guy who was the senior drill instructor, he was like, he loved me, and he's like, I need you to wake me up at 6 a.m. I was so excited. I was practicing how I was going to wake this dude up. I banged on his door hard. You already know this about me, probably. I took my foot and I banged on his door as hard as I could, and I said whatever he told me to say. Staff Sergeant, morning wake up call. He fell off of his bed.
Oh my gosh! What did he do?
He came up. He looked at me and he goes, "Roger that." He was proud.
He was
like, yeah, because it takes some cojones.
It's true.
I did what he asked me to do.
Most people wouldn't.
Oh, they were a little bit like me. I remember I was the guy, and you guys are going to hate me for this. The drill instructor said, "Do not let people use the head at this time." I would scream at them. I'd wake the whole platoon up. Oh my God. Get the fuck back to your...
People are like, I hate you.
And I was a private. I was a peer. Yeah. But I remember when they said, what do you guys think of Wiggins? I had respect. But they didn't like me. They did not like me, so they didn't vote me as a guide, whatever it's called, guide. But there was a black guy who got it, and he was cool. He deserved it. I thought that guy was cool.
That's cool. So, Brian, how long you served?
I did 8 years.
And you ended up, the last thing you did was infantry.
Well, so I started as an infantry straight from the gate. I did 3 combat deployments, and then I was a combat instructor. I did 6 cycles, which is intense. It's worse than a deployment. And all of us realized that. It was way worse than a deployment. It was just as a combat instructor, you work like you've never worked before, and the standard was beyond high. It was so freaking high as a combat instructor. It was a great experience. The whole thing was a great experience. But I will say this: I couldn't have got out my first 4 years. The way I was treated my first 4 years, I wouldn't have left with any dignity. It was such a it's like I went through being a leader as a corporal, being a leader as a sergeant. I got out with
It's different.
with a clean slate.
Yeah.
I couldn't have got out as a lance corporal. No way. I actually think that when you get out of the Marine Corps, you stay that way for the rest of your life. I see this a lot with guys that get out. Yeah. I'm like, you still behave like a lance corporal. It's amazing. It's like to that day, you can see it. You can see it.
And what made you leave?
So there was a defining moment, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I was going to work as a combat instructor, and we got off cycles, and the off cycles were amazing. It was like 30 days, sometimes 60 days, and I was building a construction company. I like to work. I was working, and they called me in while everybody else was on leave. They called me in because of my work ethic, honestly, looking back, to build out the range planning. So I did all the range planning for the next cycle. So all the grenade runs, how we were going to do this, how we were going to do that. And it sucked the life out of me. It was a lot of work. And I remember writing out the range plan and thinking to myself, I don't want to do anything I'm not passionate about anymore. And you have to understand something. I was around guys with 10, 15 deployments under their belt. They were so passionate about being a Marine Corps, like being a Marine. They were excited about going back to the platoon. I wanted to be a business owner. I was like, I'm not in this. My identity, I think a lot of Marines have their identity as Marines. They're gung-ho to the day they die. And honestly, as much as I love the gun club, I never was that guy. Not even one time. Like when I was overseas, I wasn't that guy. When I was in the platoons, I wasn't that guy. I didn't fit into the mold. I was an entrepreneur from day one. I bend the rules. I never followed the rules. Everything that they did, I never did it.
You've never been good with following the rules.
I've never been good with following rules. I don't want to. I don't thrive in it.
No.
I thrive in doing whatever I want. And I mean, I was an intense Marine.
You follow the rules in the Marines if you were to think about it, but even within the perimeters, you kind of went outside of it.
Well, it's more like this. On the weekend, I was doing truck driving. I was going to truck driving school. That's not what a Marine does. Mm-hmm. A Marine goes on the weekend, and he goes and has drinks, and he hangs out with his buddies, and you build friendships like that. I wasn't reinvesting back into because the Marine Corps is it's all about relationships. You don't get promoted.
Oh, you weren't partying with people.
I wasn't partying with people.
Doing all that stuff.
None of that.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to.
Yeah.
And and I've told you this. Looking back, I would have today.
Yeah.
I would have, because I'm a lot more mature. I think what I'm trying to say is those moments is what defines your future.
Yeah.
To sit down with someone and guys, this is why I never probably told you this. They used to say things like this because I don't even know if you know this. I wouldn't drink with the guys. I was against it. I was a religious Christian person. I was against it.
Yeah.
But I would go and drink in my room.
Yeah.
So I did it behind doors.
Yeah.
But I didn't get drunk, but I just drank alcohol. I just wasn't trying to fit in, is what I'm trying to say. But now you know how important it is when you're doing business with someone and they say, hey, let's have a drink. Let's smoke a cigar. That right there tells him everything you need to know about that person.
Yeah. So
that's what was going on with me in the Marine Corps, is that they didn't trust me. They're like, you don't trust a man who won't drink with you. It's a big deal in the Marine Corps.
And you were young. You joined, you were 19, is that?
I was 19.
Yeah. So it takes a while. So, and just so you guys know, I met Bryan after he had left the Marines. So it was you were out for a year and a half, right?
2015. We met in 2016.
Yeah. So a year.
Yeah. Well, it was in the middle of 2016.
Yes, it was July 2016. So
And
Tell
you
us.
met me, I was really low tempered too. Like
Oh,
my
yeah.
temperament was way down.
Yeah.
And that, that's actually interesting. I'm going to touch on that. So when I came back from Afghanistan, my temperament was way down.
Mm.
It's like you would think the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So it was like a good 4 or 5 months. I
And
think
Afghanistan was the last one.
it was the last combat.
Yeah.
I went on a mule, but Afghanistan was intense. I got blown up. We saw firefights every single day. There was constantly explosions. It was a rough deployment. I'm not even gonna lie. That one, we were outside of the wire for 7 months straight. But we were trained for that stuff. But I do think it's interesting that when I came back from Afghanistan, I was really calm. I was like, my temperament was really low. When you met me, my temperament was really low.
Yeah.
And I was fresh out of the Marine Corps. And that was high, intense stress. It was like a worst deployment ever. And I think that's interesting. I don't know what the deal is about it. Because now you see my temperament's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just interesting because I do remember 6 months outside of the Afghanistan, my temperament started increasing and I started being like, I didn't want to be in crowded places and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I think it's probably the traumatic, like the exposure.
Yeah, after everything you had just been through, probably like the, what do you call the side effects or post effects of what you've been kind of?
I guess it's kind of like soaking it in, maybe.
Yeah.
Until you can find yourself again.
You're a little bit out of it, maybe.
Yeah, you're out of it, and you're a little bit like grateful. I think there's like a whole bunch of gratefulness. I don't know. You talk about that. Have you ever been in a situation where it was just so bad?
Yeah, that what comes after is like the bliss.
It's a bliss.
You're like, oh, it's all good.
Sometimes I wonder if that's like women going through childbirth, like why they feel that way. Like they feel bliss. Everything's okay.
Everything after is fine. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
So, so tell me about being an entrepreneur, why that means a lot to you. And because Bryan, for those of you guys who don't know, he's not only passionate about being an entrepreneur and going down this route, but he's really passionate about taking people on that journey. Like that's his calling.
I love it.
Like you don't understand. He does this for free. He does this every day. I mean, he can encounter somebody and in 5 minutes, he's telling the guy everything that he would recommend him do with his life. And he's encouraging him to leave his job. This is who he is. He loves doing this. It's like, it's so natural to him. And I want you to tell people why that is. What is it about this entrepreneur journey that you love it?
This is a very interesting perspective. And I think the reason why people respond to it as well as they do is because I think that I'm convinced that there's truth to it. There's truth to this entrepreneur journey. There's a little bit of a trap, I think, when you have to follow the rules and you have to like go to college, and it's almost like you're waiting for certain things to happen. So you got to go to college for 4 or 5 years. Then you got to climb the ladder in the corporate, you have to kiss ass the whole way. And I was in a kiss ass gun club, or if you didn't kiss ass, you didn't get promoted. Where I think when you start to realize the freedoms of entrepreneurship, where you can make $60,000 in a month and change your life radically, and then you see where you are starting to make the decisions,
the rules, yeah.
And people start to follow you and they start to admire you, and it's all because you're not following the system. And I think it's way harder said than done. But I think the reason why I like it is because I think it's true. I think there's truth. It's like being an entrepreneur, in my opinion, is our God-given calling. We are in a place where we can design, we can build, we can create. And I don't think a lot of us tap into it, but I think to the core, we all have it. I do believe that.
And I think it's like this. What it takes a person to become an entrepreneur, to continue on that journey and to succeed it's so transformational that person becomes a whole new person. So it's almost like you get to test all of your abilities of like resilience, courage, wisdom, patience. You almost like you push yourself. It's like going to the Marines, right? Yeah. When you come out, you're a whole new man, right? Yeah. You're a kid when you go in. All these kids are kids. Yeah. They come out man, right? And I think the entrepreneur journey is almost like that, where there's so much development that happens that you become like a brand new person.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, for a fact, firsthand that entrepreneurship will test you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it tests everything you believe. It tests everything you know. Yeah. It tests.
It shows really all the indoctrination you've been through. I think it shows you how you are so used to being inside of four walls that you don't even know that people operate outside of that. And it's kind of weird at first. It's like intimidating or disbelief. It's hard to break through. You have to change your whole idea about life.
And then, I mean, what about too the aspect of having employees and pouring into them and watching their transformation?
Yeah.
And I think what I'm gonna tell people is I have a double side to this, and it's I think it's maturity for sure that has got me to this place. I don't think everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, and I don't. I think me and Noah talked about this recently. There's not. It's beautiful to be in a country like America, especially being in Brazil. You see so much corruption here, and Nora, she's told me this about Brazil, and I see it now. And we go to America, and you can have a job, you can provide for your family, you can go on vacations. It's honorable to pay
Yeah.
your bills. It's honorable to be someone in the community that works hard, provides for their family, climbs the ladder. It's because I'm kind of sick too of the entrepreneur. Like you're a loser if you're not an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people's lives are on the line. I think a lot of families are on the line. I think, uh,
I don't think it's for everyone. But I do think there's a lot of entrepreneurs who don't know that they could be entrepreneurs
yeah,
because they've been so put inside of a box.
yep,
And sometimes you see people like who work for companies, corporations, I mean, look at Tucker.
yeah,
That was a great example. Until now, Tucker was an employee
yeah,
to
and
Fox
he's
News.
tripled.
And then he acquired all those skills, and he was an employee for a very long time. And now he's on his own. He's taking off like no tomorrow.
And was there risk involved? There was.
Yes.
He was scared. He was nervous.
Yeah, but he also that was a beauty of it, preparing under being an employee. So I
Yep.
think you can become
I
a great employee, and from that become an entrepreneur. Like take off on your own later on after all the skills you acquired. As you can also not go on the journey and kind of learn, like what do they call the hard knocks school?
Grassroots,
Hard knocks.
school of
It's
hard
like
knocks. Yeah.
school of hard knocks. You learn on your own, and you can take off that way. But I do think that there's a lot of people who don't know the potential that they have just because they've been so limited to believe that there's only one way to go about life. Like how many people to this day still think you gotta go to school, you gotta go get a college degree and get a job,
Or you're nobody.
or nothing. And then you see, like I got a college degree. I went down that road. I went to the USA, barely knew English. Went to college for 4 years, got my degree, never used my degree for nothing.
Yeah.
Got a stupid degree in international studies, which is like, what is that?
It's almost like there's no guidance.
No guidance. And I never used my degree for nothing. All the jobs that I got, they never asked if I had a degree for it. So it's just a lot of people are like, I think, waking up more to this. And then on today's world, you see that so many people are making money who don't have a college degree.
Lots.
With the internet, social media, YouTube, everyone is being able to tap into wealth in a way that wasn't possible before. So I think that's why we've also seen an explosion of people who never thought that they could be entrepreneurs that are kind of like jumping on becoming like the last 10 years.
Well,
or
I mean,
so?
social media has changed the game.
Yeah.
Social media is a lead generating system that they never had. And if you are good at that, you can generate leads into your business like never before. But I think the thing that I think is the most attractive about entrepreneurship and really diving into this, because if you just talk about money by itself, just the tax savings alone of structuring your business in a way you never pay taxes. Everything you do is a business expense. It's all,
People don't know about that.
they don't know,
They
and
don't know.
they're not teaching it.
No, nobody's teaching. And also, like, as an employee, they have no idea how much taxes they're paying.
It's almost like no. Let's go there. So you pay taxes on your income, but then you buy something and you pay taxes.
Yeah.
Then you pay sales tax. Then you pay property taxes. Guys, what you don't know, because I know for a fact employees out there, you don't have an accountant. You don't have accountants like we do where they actually tell us where all of our money's going. You don't. I know you don't. You just get your income tax at the end of the year and you think that you had money. Where if you had an accountant show you how much you paid in taxes, you would be shocked at how little money you actually have.
Well, talking about that, I think it was a huge change for me because I've been an employee my whole life. And it wasn't until meeting Bryan that I got introduced to all of this. And it was hard. It still is. To this day, sometimes I struggle with it because I've been conditioned for so long. So some things I'm like, are you serious? Like, I can't believe it. I can't imagine this. But like, I remember I was so used to getting my tax return, like getting, $3,000-$4,000. And then I remember becoming an entrepreneur that I'm like, I'm not getting any money. And Bryan was like, this is the whole purpose.
It's a good sign.
It's a good thing. He's like, if you are receiving money from the government, it tells you, back from your taxes that you're in a terrible path in a way, So he's like, I was like, what do you mean? Like, I enjoyed getting that 4 grand. He's like, no, you were now as a business owner putting all these expenses to the business. It's like there's so many loopholes and things that you can do to maximize your income, your profits. And no, you don't want to ever, like, you don't want to pay taxes and you don't want to receive money from the government. So it was like concepts that I had no idea about.
Yeah, but what about like having a $60,000 month? I mean,
incredible. I think when we had a service-based business, cashing out checks of like 30,000, 12,000, 60,000, it was like, what?
all the time. Like,
and he was just like, you can never make this in a job. So that was cool.
Like, there's, you guys, we went like, there was a time we went to pull out money to transfer it, cash. And both know, well, I don't know, I'll speak for myself. I just felt like I was robbing the place.
Yeah, he acted like he was doing something wrong. He got in the car, he was weird, he was sweating. Bullets. And I'm like,
I pulled out like 40 grand cash, guys. And the guy hands me the fattest wad of cash I've ever seen. And it was just, I was like, this is
weird.
That's what some people make in a year. I mean, it really is. Like, when I was growing up, my mom made $9,000 a year.
See, you lived on food stamps.
I lived on food stamps. My mom made $9,000 a year.
Working her butt off.
I mean, this is like Brazil poor.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it's really close.
No, for the poor people in Brazil, yeah, for sure.
This is how I grew up. So, like, it's just, it's been surreal. And even today, I mean, so going from the service-based business to the digital marketing business, I mean, there's like, it's unlimited.
What made you make that move?
Yeah. So what made me make that move? So number one, this is actually a good topic. So let's this is good. So as you guys know, our daughter is in a competitive dance, and I have never been for it. I've fought them tooth and nail. I'm always been a supportive husband, but at the same time, I wear my.
You were not against it.
I wasn't against.
But you weren't like cheering for it either. You're like, whatever.
I just kind of, how do I explain this? I felt like it's a bunch of girls getting together and they're dancing on stage, and you have to sit there for hours on end, and everybody's excited.
I think there's so many dads that relate with you. They just don't say it, but he says it.
I say it.
I mean, there are times that he was in competition. He would tell Evelyn, he's like, well, that was the boring day of my life. And she's like, Dad.
Yeah.
And he just is straight like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you could wait it,
Yes.
He was just like, I don't get this. I don't get it. But okay.
But for my guys out there, you really don't know the benefits of that. Like, I have a daughter who's so confident. She gets on stage.
You started noticing that with her.
I'll share with you guys a little bit. So here recently, and this is such a Marine moment, actually. Like, I've seen my daughter. First of all, we pulled her out of competitive dance in Knoxville to move to Brazil.
So a little bit of background. So she was dancing. She danced for the first time when she was about 5 years old. When we were in Brazil, we had just got married. She did like almost 1 year of ballet, little girl. We went to America. After a little while, she wanted to do competitive. She wanted to do gymnastics. She's always been about acrobatics. So we did go to a gymnastics place in Nashville, and she started like in January. By July, she was competing in gymnastics, doing absolutely amazing. And then after that, COVID happened. We went to Knoxville, and she decided, actually, I don't want to continue gymnastics. I want to go back to dance. So she started dancing. Was it 2000? No, 2020.
September, October.
Yeah, September, October. She started that, and then a year later, she joined the competition team. So by the time we decided to make this move, she was competing for 2 years already.
Yeah, but she was like in the highest, like it was the pinnacle of her career. Like, let's say.
Yeah, it was so cool because she started on level 1 first year, and then she went level 2 the next year, and then third year, she was a lead dancer. She joined the big girls group, and she was the youngest of them all. So she was 11, and she was dancing with the girls that were like 18. And after her was just another girl that was 12, and everyone else was like 14, 15, 16, 17. So it was a big deal for her. She went to that audition, and I remember to this day, like her looking at Mom. What? Like she was reading, I made it. Like I'm with these girls. How? Like she was so excited.
And she was tight with the girls.
She was super tight. She was becoming close to the girls. So it was kind
not becoming close. Come on.
Yeah.
She was close to them.
Yeah. And it was hard.
So I watched the girl. She transitioned well, in my opinion. Like
to Brazil.
She went to Brazil. She swallowed everything.
Yeah.
She held it. She put on a good face. We had a good time. We went to Florida, had a good time before we went to Brazil. We had a good time in Brazil at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I watched this girl because she had a solo that she did in America that she was no longer going to do in America. She was going to do it here. And I saw her every day practicing after she lost her team. And I relate with that one because when I got blown up overseas, I know it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit different, but I think it has the same. There's the same thing to it. I got blown up overseas. I trained with a team for a year, and I lost that team. I had to get a new team, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I remember that, like someone asked me, what was the hardest part about getting blown up? It was losing my team. That was my dudes. So I think everyone lost their team.
It was hard.
She lost her team.
She lost everyone. She lost all her friends.
Yeah, everybody. And she had to be with a bunch of people who she didn't really like.
Yeah.
They spoke a different language, and there was a different culture.
Yeah, everything.
So I saw that same girl, anyway, learn this solo that she did, and I saw her cry, and I saw her go through all the things she went through, and she persevered, and she was hardworking. And I remember the first time I saw her do this in Brazil, I couldn't even cheer for her because this is what happened. She came on stage or on the platform, and she performed like it was so passionate. It
was so incredible.
It was like she sucked the air out of the room.
Out of the whole room.
I could not cheer for her. I was emotional. If I started cheering for her, I would start bawling. You know, it was so strong.
Yeah,
she's such a strong dancer.
She's a strong dancer, and she's very artistic, and she's very passionate. She showed up to Brazil, and everybody was like, "Whoa!" Yeah. And I'm so glad that she did that solo because, it was a solo that was choreographed for her. But she never got to perform on stage because we came here before they could compete. And I pushed through. I knew I needed to. I said, hey, let's do the solo. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, let's do the solo, Evelyn. Like, let's do it.
And the first time she did it in Brazil, they didn't even rank. They said this isn't even dance. So imagine that. Of all the things she went through, the first time she performed, they almost laughed at her.
No.
Not laughed at her.
It wasn't like that. But they didn't know what you think because acro dance is not a big thing in Brazil. And it was so powerful, and the comments were like, wow, like the comments were great, but they didn't know how to place her.
Yeah.
How to place her. She got no placement.
Yeah. But no, that is true. It actually,
but they were like, wow.
It caused a scene.
It caused a scene.
It did. I'm not going to lie.
And then
Evelyn causes waves in Brazil. She really does.
Yes.
Like
after that, she became
a little famous. Yeah. So to go back to
us moving here and digital marketing and all of that.
So when I was in the service-based business, we were doing about $70,000 to $80,000 a month, and there's about a 30% profit margin. I think I was probably somewhere around 40-50%. Our numbers were very high. We learned how to have value, and we crushed it, and we gave a good service, and we were able to charge a premium price. We were not there's a lot of guys that say in the service-based industry, I'm not the lowest price, I'm not the highest price, but I'm in the middle. We basically said we're the highest price by far, and we were. But at that point, the only income that we had was with a job to get done, and it's the highest risk. There's so many variables. You have to wait till the job's completed. Sometimes you have to wait 30 days. But you know who doesn't wait 30 days, and we were paying our guys weekly, is payroll. Yeah. It's the trucks, it's the materials. It is a high evolving business. Money comes in, money floods out. And I was looking at the digital marketing thing. So my daughter, what you guys don't know, is that Nara took her to New York Fashion Week, and she killed it. She went on the runway, crushed it, made me so proud.
For the first time.
And I thought to myself, you know, not everybody has a daughter like Evelyn. Both you and I have agreed to that.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's a once.
And you've known her, you agree. You can say if you know Evelyn,
this girl does dance. Let me put it to you like this: Evelyn's so passionate about dance. I told her she had to keep her grades up. She did it the next week.
Yeah.
She got her grades up. She goes to a private school here. She is averaging, A plus, A minus, A.
And she goes to dance Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday she misses dance.
And we've
like
seen
right now she's bored that she has 2 weeks off dance. She's like, "Oh, kill me."
And she dances. She sits in here and does choreographs.
She's very mature. She's very hardworking.
What I was gonna say, yeah. So
serious.
she gets home from school. Let's say at 4:00. We have a guy we have a private limo service. It's not a limo, but it's a van. But it's not like a bus. He drops her off at 4:00, and she's out the door at 4:30 to go to dance, and it's stressful for her.
Actually, I waited for her outside.
Yeah, Nora
she get out of the van and
goes straight to the car and goes straight to dance.
Yes.
And it's stressful for her, but she does it.
She does it. Yeah.
She does it when she's sick. She does it when she's not feeling good. She's missed one day.
Even when she's sick, she doesn't want to
miss. She's only missed 1 day of dance since she's been here.
Probably.
Just one. It's only one. But she'll do it when she's sick. She'll do it when she's tired. So what I have to say is that when I looked at this, I said the girl's talented, and this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So we're going to get into digital marketing because we're gonna build a business around Evelyn. Is the truth, and it's around Nora. Nora's really good with communication. This girl ran our whole office like clockwork, and it was easy. It wasn't even hard for her to do, and it was a very strong task. And so she's going to kick butt in this business she's in. Look, you're doing a podcast. You've built a brand. You're getting 5 million views per month of reach. You have an engagement rate of 805%. It's out of this world, the numbers. The numbers are out of this world. They're crazy. And, she only has 11,000 followers right now, but you're going to have 2 million followers in no time. That's the trajectory of it. So what we decided to do, because one thing, Nora, I don't know, I'll let you speak for it, but when I put my mind to something, it gets done. I built Dude's company with nothing, no loans, no equipment. Pretty much it was an impossible task. And I did it. I killed myself, and we built it. We built it into $1 million company. And Dude's 3.0, I can't wait to build Dude's company 3.0. We're going to have digital marketing at the heartbeat of it. The reason why I started digital marketing, there's 90% profit margins. It is when you talk about expandability or scalability, the ability to scale, it's off the freaking charts.
Yeah.
Right now we have like 6 or 7 streams of income already, and Nara started this year. Dude's company, we only had 1 stream of income, guys. Put it in perspective. We wake up to commissions on like all sides. It's insane. The reach, and we're reaching the world. We have people from Australia. We have people from.
I'm connected with people all over the world. It's kind of cool. I have, UK, Australia, Canada, United States, Brazil.
Some Brazil, very little.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah.
It's more Evelyn's channel than yours.
No, I have some Brazilians.
Some Brazilians.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Probably English speaking. I would take it.
I think they're like my third. It's Brazilians.
So the reason why we chose digital marketing is because here's the thing, guys, and like I said, I'll let Nora speak for this. I am a big supporter of my family, and I like to get in the trench. So I saw Nora trying to be online. I saw it. I saw where you were trying to get online. You were trying to get brand deals, and you were getting brand deals, but you were having to pay for them. And it seemed like we were not getting anybody to send us products. It was more like we just got a discount for buying the products. So I decided that I was going to get involved.
Yeah,
that's really what it boiled down to. And I said, okay, we're going to go
and listen, and we realized too that we needed those skills for any business that we wanted to get into. So you already knew that you were going to build more business, that we're going to do many other business. Yeah. And we realized quickly that if you didn't know marketing, if you didn't know social media, you're done.
You're done.
Because what is the biggest problem with people?
It's marketing.
Leads. How do you get leads?
It's actually awareness. And it's like, guys, it's like I run ads.
How do people find out about you? How do people get to know you? How do you become known?
And I'm sorry, you want to talk like we start Dude's company again, and we're doing digital marketing, and we're reaching 5-6 million people, and it's all organically, like we are with Dance Mompreneur. And Dance Mompreneur is going to have probably going to be in the 40 50 million soon. With that kind of power, and it's all organic.
Influence.
It's all without paid ads. With that kind of power, nobody's going to be able to compete with us. So basically, if you're not learning digital marketing, no matter what, you're doomed.
You're doomed. You're gonna quit whatever it is that you're doing. You can't progress because you have to pay attention. Anybody that you know, if you tell me about a person that you know, how'd you find out about that person? It was online.
It was online.
If there's a business that you know, a product, how'd you find out about that? Online.
It was online, or it was word of mouth, which is the same thing. So what we're talking about here, let's say you have a word of mouth business. Okay, and then you have a business like mine that's like right now you have people from all over the place who are sharing. So she has an 800. So let's talk about this. You have an 805% engagement rate. A good engagement rate, an excellent engagement rate is 12%. 12% is an excellent engagement rate. So what that means is that Nara's word of mouth business is on steroids of how many people are referring your business.
Yeah.
They're commenting, they're sharing, they're liking, they're tagging their friends, they're mentioning her in the stories. Now, this is the business that you're in.
Yeah, and you want to do it in a way that is actually fun and actually is entertaining, because at the end of the day, social media is entertaining. And I think people need to remember that. Like, you want to
be social on social media.
You want to be social. You want to connect with people. You want to relate with people. And I think, at the end of the day, my mission was we were struggling. Even though we were making... No,
we were. It's true.
So even though we were making all the money, we were struggling. It wasn't enough.
Not even close.
Not even close to pay our bills and be comfortable.
Well, I think it's just peace. It's like there's nothing wrong. Like, let's talk about this. You want some more wine?
No.
You care if I get more?
Yes.
You care if I do?
Yes.
Okay. So I can or I can't?
Let's keep talking.
Okay. So, what was I saying? Yeah.
So the reason, what we were talking about was that, even though, like we said, we're closing all those deals. Okay.
I got it. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a level of peace in your business.
Yeah.
I think,
and in your family.
I think if we were running Dude's company and I had brand deals sending us products and I had people buying courses that we were making, 40 to 50% commission. If we were making an extra $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month, plus having like an extra $50,000 in products, which is the reality of digital marketing, by the way. And you look at every strong brand out there, Black Rifle Coffee, Jocko, that guy Gary V, Bedros. I mean, all these guys.
Supplements.
They're all doing.
King.
They're all doing affiliate digital marketing. Yeah. All of them. Heavy D Sparks. All of them. So if you have that level of income coming in, no matter what, I would just say this: you can take care of your guys. You can give them bonuses. You can buy better equipment. You don't have to worry about, like, even with homeowners, you don't have to like homeowners not paying you, businesses not paying you. I'm not saying you don't care, but it's like at the same time, you don't care. It's like it'll get paid when it gets paid. There's a due process with business that you will always get your money. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer.
And here's what we realized too, is that there's nothing wrong with you investing in your kids without any stress and guilt and shame for what you're doing. Because in the beginning...
No, is there? Because I want to know that. I think it's hard for people.
Yeah, because it's like...
should there be? I think there should be. I think there should be absolute no guilt.
Yeah, because I was coming across people that were either barely making to pay the dance bills, and it was very stressful. Or, people that were paying, but it was like there was no money left for anything else. That was all they could do.
It's 90% of people.
And for us, it became where, like, you actually wanted to invest in Evelyn. It became a point that you're like, okay, I see this thing. I see that she's dedicating to dance. I love her dance studio. I see what she's doing. I see the girls. I want to invest in my kid. There's nothing wrong with that. And I wanted to be able to do this where it was not being detrimental to our family, because what I started noticing is that also everybody was in debt. Everybody was doing crazy moves. Credit cards. And then people are getting divorced because it's like the financial burden is too much. And you kind of saw that. And you're like, if we keep going this direction with nothing new, we're doomed. Because it's also like, once you get into dance, if you're a dance mom, dance family, it's like it increases by the year. Because now your daughter wants to do a solo, and then she wants to do a trio, and then she gets into the elite team like Evelyn, where she was doing 9 dances. And it's like, what are you going to do? Say no? You're going to be like, oh, honey, you got into the big girls team, but you're not going to do it.
No, this is what you really want to do. You want to not only do 9, you want to do 18 the next year. If you have a daughter who wants to do it.
who's talented, who's driven, So to be honest, it was what we had to do. We had to quit that.
Yeah, we had to quit
and restart in Brazil. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing right now. We're restarting Brazil, but I'm telling people why it didn't have to be this way. Like we all the time talk about it, right? I mean, it was necessary in our journey to do this, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I would have learned this like 6 months before we left America.
Yeah, if we were doing digital marketing
like
on
why
top of doing
our
Dude's
business?
Company, even my business would be on. It would be.
Which I don't regret it because it's like we're in Brazil.
It's
awesome. No, it's awesome. And I'm with my family. We're enjoying Brazil. But I'm thinking for the people that are watching me, I tell this to moms all the time. And then sometimes I'm in the groups and I see women saying, guys, I'm about to quit dance. Like I'm quitting dance. It's something I can do. Or this post of like, do you know any fundraising ideas? I'm like, fundraising?
Yeah, you don't need fundraising.
Who's doing that?
It's
ridiculous. It's like, no. So you have to build something that actually can bring a lot of income, actually sustainable, and actually give you and your daughter influence. But because what you don't realize is that in the dance world, you need to have influence today. It's like, it's who you are on social media actually matters.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many moms trying to build their daughter's brand. And I love it. I was doing the same. But you have to know how to do it the right way.
Well, yeah. I mean,
otherwise you just
right now,
time.
Right now, we're coaching a lady with 27,000 followers, and she's not making a dime on social media, not a dime. And you know, an account with 27,000 followers honestly should be somewhere around this, about $5,000 in free products, somewhere around between $20,000 and $100,000 a month in revenue. I'm just being honest, and you don't need to feel guilty about that, guys out there. So the truth is that it's called a high income skill.
Yeah.
And I'll just go in a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So I own Dude's Company, and we spent probably somewhere around $130,000, $140,000 in Facebook ads, and they gave us a return. But the problem was it didn't give us a fan base. So we just got leads, but those leads, you know, like the ones that we closed became a fan base, but all the people who we didn't close never saw us again because that's how Facebook ads work.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would have had, let's say, an influencer out there in Knoxville who was doing funny videos that grabbed the attention of homeowners and business owners in Knoxville, I would have gave him $100,000 hand over fist because his audience trust him, love him, and he would have represented my product, which would have told his demographics that my company was worth trusting, and that would have brought in way more money than Facebook ads. So the reason why digital marketing and affiliate marketing works so well is because of the trust that you acquire with the customer base. Yeah. And it has so much power. We've been on meetings recently where we closed brand deals. They almost threw it at us. Yeah. Like it was
like, go ahead. I'm going to give you free products until forever.
Like literally
like,
forever.
Go. We're going to send you this. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
It was power. And the guy was almost like, would have given us more, but we're ethical. We are. I think we're ethical.
No, and also we're starting.
And like, we're starting
in terms of like, we have to create a relationship with these brands until the next time we talk, we can do a paid partnership. So they want to get to know you, which is all part of the process.
Yeah, like when we bring that. So here's the truth. We're partnering with a company right now, and we're gonna open up an arm that they've never opened up into a demographics that they've never tapped into. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
That it's so kingdom that we're partnering with companies that are well rounded like us, that have good ethics. We're aligned, and we're opening up a demographics that they don't even have. And it not only does it benefit their company, it also benefits the demographics.
That's what I think is so cool. It's like when you're in this kind of business, you're helping other business out. He's like, okay, let me link with you. You help me, I help you. That's awesome.
But let's talk about this too. The audience that has never heard of this product.
Yeah.
They also now get to have this product. And I don't care what you guys say out there. I'm over it. We love products.
Yeah.
We love shopping.
And everybody does.
We love finding a protein that we'd never heard about. And it's like, oh, I never heard of this protein. Didn't even know it existed. Thank you for putting it in front of me. I mean, this is the truth. I love it when someone like we do Amazon. And it's like the fact that we have if somebody would have given me a list that was already put together when I was a busy business owner, I would have kissed them on the cheek. Like, dude, thank you for putting this together for me. Because now all I have to do is click it and go. So I understand, like, when you're poor, maybe you don't like buying products, but I would say like 90% of America, you're not poor. You're not in a place where you can't buy products.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, this whole digital marketing thing, I mean,
the possibility are endless.
Well, we help people make money online. Then we help grow businesses that are like, we partner with businesses and we actually help them grow.
Yeah.
We entertain a demographics. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all fun.
It's all fun. It's all good. It's incredible.
So what would you tell dance moms and dance dads from your experience being a dance dad in terms of, let's do two things and then we can wrap this up. What would you tell them about encouraging, supporting their kid that maybe didn't know in the beginning, if somebody's like you? And then two, what would you tell them about dive into digital marketing to make extra money to support their kids? And
Well, one thing I would tell parents right out the gate is really stop thinking like an employee. Stop thinking like don't have dance be a hobby. Don't have it be this thing that you just go to and you don't really make it into anything. If you see you have a talented kid who's really going the extra mile with this, I would say invest in it, turn it into a business, especially if they're passionate about it, because this will be like something they can get into when they're older. I think so many times I see dancers that like all they talk about is what college they're going to. And I think parents are so stuck on going to college. It's like, just because you went to college doesn't mean that your kid has to go to college. I mean, we're in 2024. Your kid could be an influencer. They can be someone who even
an entrepreneur, business owner.
They could be so like,
it can be so much more. And I realized too, there's so many talented dancers that they never pursue anything with dance. And then all that time and money was kind of wasted, and they just go to college and become, an accountant. Nothing against on it, but I'm like, the probably the reason why it went that route is because that kid didn't know that there was any other way that was better.
And their parents didn't either, and they were not even open to it. Yeah. So what I would stress to the audience is, can you please have an open mind to entrepreneurship? Just because you're an employee, maybe fund the young entrepreneur that's growing. Like, just because you're not an entrepreneur doesn't mean that your kid cannot be. Like for Evelyn, what if she has her own clothing line? What if she's inspiring the younger generation to be classy, to be moderate, to feed the homeless? Like, what if that's what her brand is doing? It's tasteful. What if? Like, what if it's like impactful? What if she's writing, what if she has influence where she's writing Congress, but she has influence behind that? Yeah. Where like her followers are like where she has power.
A great example of this, I was looking to it, and I think I'm so proud of the direction even they're going now, is the LeBron family. Yeah. I was looking at them. You guys know who they are. I mean, Evelyn introduced me to them many, many, many years ago, and they've been influencers from the beginning, all YouTube, social media. You guys know their story. They're the cutest couple with a beautiful family, all those kids, but they become more like, after they got the influence that they wanted, the money that they were after, you could see that they could now actually focus on the things that they actually wanted to do. Yeah, God. So they're being very outspoken about their faith in Jesus, in God, about family stuff. They're no longer doing the things that they were doing in the beginning, but they needed to get there. So there's nothing wrong, guys, with you taking social media so you can gain the influence, the money, the experience, the knowledge that you need, and then dive that into doing something that you actually want to do. 100%. And I think that's what is inspiration about it. And they would never be able to live their life, achieve those things if they hadn't got that route. And they're young people. Their daughter is in competition now. She's absolutely incredible, super talented. They can pay for any teacher that they want, any dance studio that they want, any class, any convention. How awesome is that? Is there anything wrong with that? Being able to afford everything for your kid. And it's like, so that's what I'm after. I hope you guys open your mind a little bit, about those things. I think this was an awesome conversation because, Bryan, this wouldn't happen without you. Mm-hmm. I have to thank you, even though I know that sometimes I can be a pain in your butt too, and you push me a lot. We push each other a lot. For sure. He's American Marine. I'm a Brazilian, totally different. And we've been together for almost 8 years now. 8 years already?
It's 8
maybe?
Years. It's going on 8 years.
Yes, going on 8 years, and I wouldn't be here without you. And I think it's so cool, guys. Actually, it's a privilege that you guys get to hear from this guy. If you ever get in front of him from his coaching, I see what he does with the people around him. It's absolutely incredible. The way he coaches people and takes them on a journey and gives them hope and actually takes them to the next level. I mean, it's like I see people's lives, they line up, and everybody he's been around has grown. as a person and into their dreams and vision. All of them have taken like the next step.
They've taken leaps and bounds.
Sure. And I think that's super cool. So thank you, Bryan.
Yeah, it's awesome.
For being here. My husband. This was a great talk.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And thank you guys for watching this. This was episode 2.
Episode 2, baby.
Make sure that you like this podcast. Subscribe to it. Leave me your comment. We want to know what you thought about Bryan, his journey, his story. Ask questions. Give me your honest review. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.